All right, Big Fish Docs. This is all about you guys. This is all about your day one, your day two, processing new patients, getting new patients connected to your clinic, getting them to follow through with your recommendations and start care and do all the things that we want to do, which means them getting better. So ultimately, you got to think about this for a second. What is the purpose? What's the purpose that they teach you when you're in chiropractic school as far as the purpose of, day one, day two? Remember, LOPQRST, finding out what hurts, when does it hurt, how long does it hurt, what's the quality of the pain, and what kind of symptoms, and what do you do, and it's all these things, and the whole purpose behind day one. And, really they don't even teach a day one, day two. It's just, the purpose is find out the diagnosis, right? I mean, that's what they teach you to do in chiropractic school, is just come up with a diagnosis, be the doctor. Well, that version of a doctor is not my version of what a great doctor is. Great doctor is one that can inspire people and one that can correct subluxation. Correcting subluxation takes time though. That's the problem, that's the challenge, is it takes a long time to actually correct it. And so how do we get people to follow a plan of recommendation to correct subluxation if that takes 9 months to a year? How do we get them to follow through with something like that? That's like sitting down teaching somebody how to get in shape and stay in shape and keep their appointments with their trainer for a year. I mean, how many people really follow through with getting in shape? I mean, like 5%, 10%, something like that if you're a physical trainer and working with people. So, I mean, that's our challenge, is how do we motivate people? Because the thing that motivates people to come in the first place is they're in pain. They have a symptom and they just want it to go away. So that's with that backdrop, I want you to understand that how I do a day one and a day two is focused on how do we get people to follow through. And the number one thing to realize is that what we are doing with our day one is we're learning who's sitting in front of us. Who is the person? What kind of a human being is this that's sitting in front of us? Now, we all know what we're talking about here. Do we have somebody super emotional sitting in front of you? Somebody that's like basically almost in tears because of their life sucks and they're in pain and their spouse is ticked off at them all the time and the kids are running over the top of them and it's just, they're frustrated, they're unmotivated, they feel destroyed, beat up, and like there is no hope, okay? So that's your emotional person. Now you've got a 60-year-old male accountant sitting here who, just tell me what's wrong, I want to know what's wrong so I can fix it. I just want to fix it. You got your analytical person who actually wants to know which vertebra is rotated in what direction, and they're just super analytical. They're not emotionally connected at all. You've got that person. You need to figure this out. Who's sitting in front of you? Okay, do you have a Labrador Retriever or do you have a Pit Bull? Do you have a little old lady that wants to beat you over the head because she had a bad experience with the last doctor that just wouldn't listen? Or who? Do you have a kid that really could care less about coming in, but just knows that he can't play football if he doesn't, if he can't, get you to sign off on his knee problem? I mean, you've got all different kinds of people, and you need to figure out who you're dealing with and how you ask your questions and how you communicate with that person. You're going to get to know who you're dealing with, because why do we care? We need to deliver a day two report of findings, and how you deliver that day two report of findings is determined by the relationship that you build and how you figure out who that person is on day one. So that's my first tip on how to do it. A great day one is to realize what we're doing. And there's 3 pieces, but the first one is figuring out the type of person that we're dealing with. so that you can plan on and create the perfect report of findings. So there you go. There's the first thing. We're going to review a little bit each time as we go. But the first thing is figure out who's sitting in front of you. All right, big fish. Now we're going to talk about a little bit of day 2 stuff and the things that people really need to hear and things that people want to know when it comes to your report of findings. So there's really only 4 things. Number 1, they want to know what's wrong. Earth-shattering. They actually had a reason for coming to see you and they want to know what's wrong. It's like going to the mechanic with your car that's making a noise. What do you want to know? You want to know what's wrong. Why is it making that noise? They want to know why they hurt or why they can't, bend and touch their toes, that kind of stuff. So they want to know what's wrong. Now, here's the thing. In your day 1, you better have touched the part of them that's dysfunctional. If their number 1 priority, in fact, one of the things that I ask every single human being that walks into our office and that I do a day 1 on, I ask them this. Let's make a list. I would like to make a wish list of the things that you would like to improve. And so we start. What is the number 1 thing that if you could improve it about your health, you would do it? You'll kind of be shocked. Oftentimes, it's not any of the things that they marked on their intake forms. But I always ask that because there's sometimes a hidden thing that once they feel a little bit more comfortable with you, your rapport is being built and they trust you a little bit, that they'll actually tell you, well, the biggest thing is I'd like to lose some weight. It's really a health problem for me. But they came in because of their back pain, and that's the box that they checked. So number 1, let's find out what is that number 1 thing that you would like to get better. They say, low back. I want my low back to function better. Okay, great. What's number 2? What would that second thing be? It's, well, my neck and I get some numbness across here. Okay, great. What would number 3 be? Well, I have headaches every once in a while. Okay, number 3. And usually I kind of stop with 3. Now, if people are going and they've got a lot of stuff, maybe I'll go up to 5. But you got to find out what's really bothering them. And then guess what? If low back is their number 1 thing, you better find that subluxation in their low back and stick your stinking thumb on it. And you better, really give it to them so that they know that you found it. And you don't have to say anything. All you have to say is, aha. Because they know. They instinctively know that you found it. When you stick your thumb on it firm enough, they know it. Okay, so you have identified it. Now, the greatest thing is then when you're showing them the x-rays the next time on day 2, you can relate it. Because they're going to remember you sticking your thumb on that spot. And when you say, oh, yeah, there it is, I can feel that. Okay, we're going to talk about that spot on your next visit. And then when you're showing it to them on their x-ray, you say, do you remember when I said, this is the spot and I found that spot in your low back and I kind of tortured you a little bit and pushed on it? That's it right there on your x-ray. That's the subluxation that we just highlighted for you. That's exactly what's causing the problem. So people want to know what's wrong. What's the next thing they want to know? Can you fix it? Yeah, you've told me what's wrong, but can you fix it? Can you do anything about it? Can you help me with this? And so when you're showing people that subluxation or that reversed curve in the neck, you know what? This is our bread and butter. I'm so glad you're here. This is exactly what we do today. And you know what? You are a special person, but I gotta be honest with you, we'll see about 35, 40 people today, just today, with that same exact problem. I want you to feel like you're special, but you're really not in terms of this is a common thing. So many people deal with this that it's our bread and butter. It's something that we can absolutely help you with. So one of the questions that I was contemplating when I was looking at your x-rays is whether or not I would have to send you anywhere else. And I can tell you right now, with the stuff that you've got going on, I don't need to refer you anywhere. You don't have to go any other places other than right here. I can help you with this. So people want to know what's wrong. Can you help me? Can you fix this? Okay? Those are the 2 things. We're going to get 2 more in the next video. Talk to you soon. Okay, so here we are, back to day 2. The 4 things. Number 1, what's wrong? what's wrong with me? Can you fix it? And number 3, how long is it going to take for you to fix this? Okay, now this is probably one of the toughest ones, but actually one of the easiest things to deal with, because the orthodontists have already paved the way for us. That's what's so awesome, and you have to. In my office, if I find that anybody did a report of findings without talking about teeth and how long it takes to correct the alignment of teeth, I freak out. So you have to talk to people about how long it takes to correct teeth when teeth are crooked, because everybody knows how long you have to have braces on. In fact, probably 70% of all the people that you'll see have had braces. Okay, so when you're answering the question, how long is this going to take, I always start with, well, this is bone. It's very similar. What we're looking on this x-ray here, this is very similar to an orthodontist looking at a mouth that is really crooked. So I think you probably understand. Did you ever had braces? Okay, so you went through this. How long did you have your braces on? Yeah, 2.5 years. Okay, that's common. Okay, so when you look at changing the alignment of teeth, it's bone, and it's really difficult to change. So the good news is that yes, we are changing bone position with your spine. Yes, this curvature in your neck, we need to change that to take pressure off your nervous system, and so that these problems of yours go away. But it's not gonna take nearly as long as it takes to straighten your teeth. And we're gonna talk about this in a minute, but it's not nearly as expensive either. So the good news is what takes 2.5 to 3 years to change when it comes to your teeth is only gonna take us about 12 months. So 12 months to fix and correct what's going on with your spine. Now, when you get to the financial part, you know, people also know exactly, you've already set the stage for them comparing correcting their teeth, and let me tell you, it's like $6,000, okay? I know this well. I've had 2 kids so far go through this of correcting their teeth. So I've already spent 12 grand on this stuff myself personally. I know how expensive it is. And you know what? Nobody says no to the orthodontist. So it's not a financial thing. You have to make it affordable, but you have to make it important for people. You have to make it a priority for them to correct their problem. So, what's wrong? Can you fix this? How long is it going to take? And then how do you make it affordable? So those are the pieces. Those are the things that people want to know. So you have to create your report of findings around those 4 things. That's it. Okay? That first piece, you're showing them the x-rays. You're going through that, and I think I'm going to do a series on that as well to talk about the different things that you can point out on these x-rays. But you don't have to look at every single x-ray either. You just got to point something out in the neck, okay? Maybe point something out in the low back so they understand why you're adjusting both areas each time they come in, okay? So it's pretty easy to show them what the problem is, and easy to tell them that, hey, this is what we do, this is how we fix it. And it's pretty easily said that you can just say, you know, it's going to take 1/3 of the time to correct your spine as it takes to correct your teeth. That part's easy. And so if it's 1/3 of the time, it's 1/3 of the price. And so here's the way we make it affordable. I never talk about cost. I never talk about how we, you know, keep the cost down or how do we make it inexpensive. How do we make it affordable? Meet people where they're at. Okay? So those are the things we're going to talk about amongst yourselves this week. Make sure you focus on those. Hey, you guys. Last time we talked about what? Getting to know the person and figuring out who it is you're talking to and who it is that you're going to be communicating with when it comes to delivering your report of findings. So we know that that's important, but the next thing we're going to talk about is trust. Trust. It's not about this diagnostic quality stuff that you have learned in school. It's not about the new Blinky Shiny, the little machine and the thing that you can use to find a subluxation, because people don't give a crap about your Blinky Shiny equipment. They don't give a crap about, you know, the diagnostic prowess of doing 19 orthopedic tests, they don't care. Okay? What do people care about? They care that you know them and know how to deal with them. They care that you're trustworthy. Wow, this is groundbreaking. They care that you're trustworthy. They just want to be able to trust you. So if you're going to ask them to follow you, if you're going to ask them to engage with you, to believe you when you talk to them about subluxation and the correction, that you can help them and that you can give them hope, then you better build your trust with them. It's not that easy. You got to give a little bit of your heart. You got to give a little piece of you in that process. So how do you do that? Well, this is a challenge. You have to engage. You have to engage with people. Now, how do you do that? Well, let's talk a little bit about rapport. How do you build rapport with people? Well, the way you build rapport with people is you talk about the things that they want to talk about. When you're looking at your intake papers, what do you think the most important things on your intake papers are? Do you think it's the fact that they check the box that they have sciatica? Or the box that says allergies? Or the box that says headaches? I mean, you're going to talk about the things that are hurting them and bothering them. But ultimately, man, that's not what builds a relationship. What builds a relationship is that you notice what city they're from, and you talk about the mascot that the high school has, and the fact that they won the basketball championship last year, and the fact that they just built a really cool community center, or the fact that they now have a cool bowling alley that now you can take your kids to. I mean, just engage and connect with people in the city that they live in. And if you know what street they're in or what community they live in, talk about their community. Oh my goodness, that's a great community. That's a great neighborhood. The houses there are so cool. That's a really safe neighborhood. I've known some people that have lived there before. Or how about the place that they work? That manufacturing plant, do you like working there? Yeah, I do. Well, that place puts out the best equipment I have ever seen. I've had a number of people that have come here, and every single one of them says that they love their job. I don't know why that is, but everybody likes working there. How long have you worked there? You need to have a conversation. You need to build rapport, build trust. It's all about people, you guys. You know, if you can just work on you and your ability to smile, your ability to be intense, your ability to keep eye contact, your ability to, just be with them, love them, touch them, engage with them, okay? That is the secret to having them understand and believe what you're saying when you're going to explain what you're going to do to help them, okay? You want to get a commitment from them, so you've got to build trust and you've got to build rapport. So get busy working on you. Knock it off with Plan Doctor and wearing the white coats and being all fancy and having fancy equipment, all this stuff, okay? You gotta have your equipment and whatnot, but you've got to be able to engage with people. If you can't do that, then you're never gonna get a following, and you need to be a person, a human being that's worth following. Do you understand what I'm saying? All right, let's work on that. Any dollar you can spend on working on that is worth $1 million. I'm telling you now, that's where it's at. People skills. All right, we're going to talk to you soon. All right, guys. So we talked about being a better human being and being a fantastic human being that's worth following. We also talked about knowing the kind of person that you're talking to, so you know how to talk to them so that they feel like you get them. Okay, so we talked about those things. Here's the next thing. People need to know that you are a reliable source of care. That sounds weird, but they need to know that you are a reliable source of getting their problem solved. All right, so how do you do that? Let me just mention a few things. Number one, have a clean office. Another groundbreaking thing from Dr. Jeff. Have a clean office. Now, sometimes you actually have to walk into your office and maybe walk in with a few people and just start looking around. Are the chairs gummy, dirty? Is there dust in places that you have never noticed before? Do you clean the corners? Okay. I mean, is the paint job nice on the walls? I mean, all those little things. I'm not saying you have to have a marble floor, or that kind of a thing, but have a nice environment, have a nice office, have a station that serves tea or a water station so people can get some water. Do some cool things so that you have a nice environment, okay? So having a nice office is really, really important because people will walk in and they will go, wow, reliable place. They spend some time working on the details. Number 2, have a friendly staff. Wow! Friendly people at the front desk? Crazy. If you're not friendly, if you're not inviting, if you don't stand and say, hi Samantha, we've been expecting you. Good to see you. You are Samantha, right? They're going to be excited to hear their name. Dr. Jeff is going to be with you shortly. He's been expecting you and he can't wait to meet you. Be friendly, overbearing friendly, because, I mean, do people run away from people that are overbearing friendly? No, they do not, okay? You will surprise a few people, and remember, these are people that walk in and they're hurting, so they're not always the friendliest people when they walk in, but you gotta smother them with kindness, smother them with your love, smother them with friendliness, be overblown so that at the end of the day when you walk out the door, you have just launched all of your friendliness out of you for the whole day. You're tapped. You have no more left because you were friendly to everyone. So that has to happen. If your front desk is not overbearingly friendly and kind and considerate, then that's a problem, okay? Because that's one of the reasons that people will use to decide whether or not you're a reliable source of care. Now the last thing, this one kind of makes sense, you probably could have guessed this, you actually have to be intelligent, okay? You actually do have to be intelligent, but all of your words are not that important, okay? When you explain analogies to people, you want to make them real, okay? When you talk about the jelly donut and you're comparing that to a disc herniation when you squeeze the jelly donut and the jelly comes out, okay? It's not that weird to explain things like that, okay? But when you can, you need to show your intelligence. So when you explain things like osteoarthritis, segmental dysfunction, when you explain things like spondylolisthesis or a ponticulus posticus, or you explain what a bifid spinous is or something, you know, pick 1,000 different things. There's 1,000 different ways to show people and explain things to people so that they go, huh, this guy's not so stupid. He's actually pretty smart, and this stuff actually makes sense because he used an analogy that makes sense to me, and I can relate to it. Intelligence, another one of the ways that people will decide that, hey, this is a reliable source of care. Now we're setting the stage, you guys. This is all day 1 stuff. This is all day 1 stuff to set the stage for day 2. Day 2 is when the decisions get made. Day 2 is when the commitment takes place. So people will make a commitment if you know how to deal with them, if you have built rapport and trust, if you have a nice environment and you have friendly people and the doctor's intelligent. Okay, those are all key things. This is not rocket science. This is Dr. Jeff telling Big Fish how it is, okay? So keep working on these things. I'm gonna talk to you soon, guys. Hey Big Fish Nation, here we go. I think this is installment number 6, if I am remembering correctly. And what we're talking about is what the things are, the questions are. What are those questions that people really need answered when they come in? So as far as new patient perfection, you just have to realize that there's really only 4 things that people really want to know. And in the last installment, we talked about people want to know what's wrong and can you fix it? Okay? Today, we're going to talk about the other 2 things that they want to know. Okay, if you can fix it, how long is it going to take? And how much is it going to cost? Those really are the only 4 things that people really want to know. What's wrong? Can you fix it? And if so, how long is it going to take? And okay, how much is it going to cost? You answer these 4 things, you deal with these 4 questions, you are dealing with 99% of the questions that people have, and that's it. So let's focus on those 2, the 2 for today. And the 2 for today are, how long is it going to take? Here's what's so easy about this, you guys. Hear me and hear me loud and clear on this. You have to You have to talk to people about something that they can relate to, and they can all relate to having braces on their teeth. So if you're not talking about how long it takes to correct somebody's teeth as an orthodontist by putting braces on the teeth, if you're not using that, stop right now, forget what you're doing, and just add that into what you're talking about, because people will all of a sudden go, okay, that makes sense. You want to change something that's made out of bone in your body, it's going to take time to do that. Okay, so whether it's bone in your mouth and changing the position of teeth in your mouth, which takes 3 years, by the way, so it's good news when you explain to people, it's not going to take us 3 years to change the alignment of your spine. Your teeth don't move real good. They don't have joints that flop around. Your spine moves a lot better, and so it's not going to take us nearly that long. In fact, it's only going to take us between 9 and 12 months. So that's way better than 3 years. So that's the good news. Another good thing is, how much is it going to cost? Well, since it only takes us a third of as amount of time, it's going to be less cost as well. So it's about a third the cost of getting braces on your teeth. I know this well. 2 daughters, full braces, paid, done it. So just hear me. People are going to be happy. You want people happy when you say 12 months of care, okay? Don't be chicken to say it's going to take 12 months, because orthodontists do it every day, all day, telling people it's going to take them 3 years, you guys, to fix their teeth. So what's the big deal about 12 months? Stick to your guns, because it's the truth. It's what it takes to fix somebody's spine and to actually correct it, instead of putting a Band-Aid on it and you're just patching it up and just making them feel a little bit better, like taking a pill and you feel better for a while, but you're not fixing anything. So tell them the truth, tell them what you need to do, tell them how long it's going to take, and then give them the good news that it's not that costly. In fact, use the word affordable. It's affordable. We make it affordable for you to get the care that you need. So here's how we do that. And then explain your plan. And your plan is affordable. If people value what you do and they want what you have, they will pay for it. So those are the 4 things. Kind of brief and quick to the point today, but that's part of new patient perfection. We'll see you next time. All right, you guys. I'm introducing you to something that is so cool. I'm so excited to show this to you. It is the pie chart of perfection and the pie chart of new patient perfection. So what I want to introduce to you is the fact that when you're delivering a report of findings, you have to know who you're talking to. And here are the secrets to how you deliver, not the exact words, but how, the feeling and the impact that you're going to deliver, how you deliver your report of findings. Okay, so that's the pie chart of perfection, which is 3 different pieces. The first piece is matter of fact. You need to deliver your report of findings in 3 ways. The first part is just matter of fact. You're just showing them the results. You're showing them the x-rays. They got a reverse curve in their neck, you're going to show it to them. And it just is what it is. Now, I've heard other people say you just need to be blunt with people. I don't really love the word blunt. It has some negative connotations. So I like the words matter of fact. It just is what it is. You got a cavity in your tooth? Nah, you got a cavity in your tooth. You got to fill it. You got to fix it. You got to deal with it. You got a crooked spine. You got to fix it. It's just a matter of fact. It's just an analysis. Okay, so that is a part of your report of findings. The other piece is what I call C3. C3 stands for concern, care, and connection. So it's a part of your report of findings to be concerned, okay, to show that you care, and to make a connection with the person that you're talking to, okay? So it's C3. Your care for that person needs to come from here. You can't fake it. Man, people will see right through that. It needs to be your care, your concern for their well-being, and the connection that you make, not brain to brain, heart to heart. The connection, okay? That's impactful, and that's big. Now, the last one is I, okay? I3. Okay, we got C3 as the second part. I3 is impactful, intensity, and inspiration. So it's the third part of your report of findings. Has to be impactful, driving, and your intensity has to be there, okay? And it has to be inspiring. Now, here's the deal. Here's the magic here with this new patient perfection and the pie of perfection. It depends on who you're talking to, what percentage of your report of findings is going to be for each. So I have had the help of my trusty friend here, Terry, to make a pie chart for you guys. So I'm going to deliver that to you in a separate email, but the pie chart is going to show you an example, and I'm going to show it to you right now. Here we go. Here's the pie chart, and it's showing you, okay, that if you've got an analytical, your matter of fact portion of your report of findings is going to be huge. It's going to be like 60%. It's going to be focused on just being matter of fact, show them the problem, and they're going to make a decision on how to fix it. It's just matter of fact. That's what you're going to do with an analytical. And only 20%, what's in green there, is the care, the concern, and the connection. They don't really care that much about the heart-to-heart connection or the emotional part of it. And the impactful part, the I3, is blue here, and that's only 20% as well, because, you know, analyticals don't really care that much to be inspired. You don't have to inspire them, just show them what's wrong, and they'll decide if they want to fix it. But now you come down to these people, and these are your emotional people, okay? This up here, this is your, like, accountant that comes in, or your biophysicist that comes in that just likes dealing with the numbers, okay? This down here, this is your emotional stay-at-home mom who's dealing with tons of stuff at home and, you know, half the time starts crying in your office, okay? This is the person where 60% is green. They want to know that you care. They want to know about your concern for your patients. They want to make a heart-to-heart connection. And only 20% is analytical. And only 20% is the inspirational and impactful. You can't be super intense with an emotional person. You need to show your care and concern. So these are two really good examples of how you want to deliver your report of findings, okay? You guys, this is groundbreaking. A lot of these other things that I've been showing you along this way have not been groundbreaking. They're just common sense things. This is groundbreaking. If you think about this and you plan for your report of findings, plan it this way and you will see changes. All right, next week we're going to do a wrap-up of the entire New Patient Perfection, and we'll kind of summarize in one last video. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you find this impactful, the pie of perfection. See you later, guys. Hey, Big Fish. Wanted to touch base with you. This is the kind of the wrap-up of our New Patient Perfection, and I just wanted to kind of touch base and give a little bit of a synopsis for you and go back through things very quickly and just give you a thumbs up and go get them at the end here. So first off, purpose of day one, remember, it's not about diagnosis. It's not about that. It's not about just figuring out, you know, what kind of code you're going to use. It's about figuring out the person. Who is the person sitting in front of you? And therefore, then, how are you going to speak to them? How are you going to touch them, connect with them? So you want to build trust, you want to build rapport with that patient, and everything you do is all about building that relationship. So figuring out what kind of a person they are is really key to then building that trust and building the rapport. Other things are having a clean office. Okay, remember the groundbreaking stuff? Having a clean office, having a friendly staff, have people stand and shake hands. Don't give them the limp noodle. You know, give them a firm handshake. Welcome people into your clinic. Those are some of those little things that go a long ways. Be intelligent, but be simple. Nobody says you have to check your brain at the door, but if you start inundating people with analysis of their spine, they don't care. They could care less about all the stuff that we know for the most part, but you do have to give some intelligent conversation when you're explaining things. So use some of your words that, let people know that you know what you're talking about, and that's fine. But then use ways to speak that's simple so that people understand it. Day two, hey, it's just 4 things, right? What's wrong? People want to know what's wrong. They want to know whether or not you can fix it, and they want to know, okay, how long is it going to take to fix it, and how are you going to make it affordable? You know, what's it going to cost me? And as long as you answer those 4 questions, and people already trust you because you've built rapport with them over the first day and now the second day, it's a pretty easy decision. You know, if they value what you have to offer and the problems that you're going to be able to solve for them, then they get on board. And if they don't get on board, then that's okay. Next, let's serve the people that want to be served. Let's serve the people that want to value who we are and what we do in our clinic. And I want to leave you with this. And I know we talked about the pie of perfection and things like that as well, but I want to just leave you with this one nugget. You are responsible to be up here every time you're with patients and every time you're with staff. If the rest of the world is down here, okay, if your staff is here or your patients are here, you cannot be here because you need to drag them with you to excitement, to enthusiasm, to where you guys are headed with your mission. You need to be here, okay? That's very true in public speaking, because oftentimes you're standing in front of a group and they're just kind of staring at you. Half of them are falling asleep and you're just wondering, how am I going to get this group motivated? You got to come at them up here, okay? You got to be here, and you got to be on every single day, all day, with every interaction. You being the owner, you being the business, you being the entrepreneur, you do not have the right to be down here, because it is not about you. Don't you dare try to get sympathy because you're limping around or because you got the sniffles or some kind of stupid thing like that, because nobody cares about that, and they don't want a doctor that's down here. Okay, you might as well have all your interns adjust, everybody, because you suck if you're down here. So you better come with your A game and make it up here every single day, every single minute, every single moment that you're with people, okay? So thanks for hanging with me with the New Patient Perfection. I don't know what we're going to do next, but I've got a few things up my sleeve, and so we'll keep doing some things like that to keep you guys motivated and give you some things to think about for your reports, for your daily education and stuff like that. So that's probably what we're going to be going over next. Have a good day and a good weekend, everybody.